Most people who walk into my clinic believe one thing about their metabolism. And they believe this before they even sit down. They believe that the reason that they're struggling, the reason someone else isn't struggling, is that they got the slow one. And in this episode, I want to show you why that explanation, as reasonable as it sounds, is the wrong one. And what's exactly going on in your body so that you can understand what's happening around you. Hey, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode if you're new to me. I'm an endocrinologist, an author of The Diabetes Exit, and founder of Woode Life Design. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. I'm here because I want you to have the success in your health, just like you're having in all the other areas of your life. So you can show up intentionally and in a very present way for your family, for your friends, and for all of those dreams that you have been pouring into. Welcome if you're joining us. If you were here last week, thank you for coming back. If you are here for the first time, good timing. Wherever you're joining me from, whether that's on Facebook, LinkedIn, Substacks, Twitch, even if you're here on YouTube, thank you for showing up and hanging out with us. And a special shout out to our friends. If you saw our content at your doctor's office, you saw it in your community center, you saw it in a newsletter, thank you for being here. And a special mention to our folks from Atlanta, the Atlanta Berean Church, Magazine Street Church in Louisville, Kentucky, and of course, Riverside Church in Nashville, Tennessee. And then, as always, a special shout out to our accelerator members who are here hanging out, and they are always willing to do what they need to do to be healthy. Thank you for being here. We've got a great lineup, great show for this evening. Before we get there, though, let's go ahead and do like we do. We're going to take a look at my blood sugars on my monitors. I've got my CGMs off to the side, and also I've got my other finger stick. So let's go ahead and let's take a look. This is my Dexcom that you're going to see here first coming up. And right now you see that it is 100 and 105 is what it says that my blood sugar is right now. Down below you'll see right here, that's what's been going on, the tracing that's been happening over the last little while. Now my monitor ended last night and I didn't change one until earlier today. So let's go ahead. I'm going to put that into the 6 hour. And so I changed it right at about, let's see, what time was that? Right at about 4 o'clock, actually, when I was almost the end of the day. And it's funny because I had it on the whole time. But let's go ahead and we're going to hop over and we're going to take a look at what the Freestyle Libre is saying. So my blood sugar right now, 87 according to Freestyle Libre. And then I can run my finger across this one. You see we've been hanging out in the 80s and 90s, popped up right there around lunchtime to 133 and then back down to where we are right now. What I love about looking at these is that one of the things that it allows me to do is I can look at my different reports. And here I'm going to look at my 90-day. Look at the 90-day report, and you see right now for 90 days, I've been in target 98% of the time right in this area, right? And getting out of that, my average blood sugar for 90 days is 103. You'll see that right up in this area. And then if I look at my glucose management indicator, which is a surrogate, if you will, for A1C, right now I'm 5.8. So over the last 90 days, the last 3 months, if I were to get an A1C right now, I would expect it to approximate that. Now, if you followed our series, The Doctor as Patient, you saw me show you what my A1C was in real time, and you saw me show you what the Dexcom and what the Libre said it should have been. So that would be a good one for you to go back and watch if you've not been watching, or if you did not watch that series with us. Okay? And then getting out of this, going back to the Dexcom, and looking at the reports here, I can look at 90 days. And so for let's get back there. Where's my report? There you go. And so for 90 days, I am in target 92% of the time right in here. My average blood sugar of 113, let's get that out of the way. And it is saying that my glucose management indicator would be a 6.0. Okay. So 6.0 for the Dexcom and a 5.8 for the Freestyle Libre. Now, some of you are out there and you've seen the variability between the different monitors. And we're going to see here in just a minute also what it looks like on my finger stick. So let's go ahead. Let's do that right now. Let's see. Let's hop over here. So I've got a Keto Mojo monitor, and I've got a Contour, which is right here. And so let's go ahead and grab a strip. Let's see. Open this up. So the brown is for blood sugar, and the blue one that you see there that's on the screen, that is for ketones. All right, so I got that one. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab a strip out of for the Contour. And so so you'll get to see 4 different blood sugars based on 4 different monitors. So here we are. Let's get that in there. Go ahead and get this one in here. And just grab a Lancet. As you know, I don't use a lancing device. We're going to just grab this, pull that open, find a finger, and ow. Okay, hopefully that gives me a good brisk, yeah, there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and get this one started. And get this one started. I need just one more drop for the ketones. And while that's on, let me go ahead and put this up so you can see. Let's see, let's go back. You can actually see a number, right? So 103 is what the Dexcom says it is. And then, of course, 91 for the Keto Mojo and 96 for the Contour. And I just need one more drop of blood. Come on. I think I'm going to have to stick myself again. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and grab this one open. This is my... Can you guys see that? No. All right, so this one is for the... And I was trying to protect that drop of blood, but that's okay. So this is my little basket, so I've got all my supplies in there. Let's get this one out. And this is for ketones. So I've not been fasting. So we'll see what my ketones are. What do you think they're going to be? Somebody put a guess. All right. And ow. All right, there you go. A good drop. And monitoring ketones, great. For those of you who fast with us, you know that's one of the things that I monitor so that I know that I'm in ketosis. And so 3, 2, 1, and 0.1, right? So remember, less than 0.5 considered normal, 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then above that considered therapeutic ketosis. So right now I'm in the normal range because I'm not fasting right now. One of the things that happens in the office as I'm going about, even though I am not fasting, we'll have blood sugars that will dip down into the 70s, sometimes into the 60s, depending on what I've been eating. And you may know that I do a 1 meal a day as my normal, that's my eating pattern when I'm not in my fasting window. And so my blood sugars will dip down. And so my team, they're like, can you turn that thing off? Can you? All right, so let's get this off of the desk here. All right, and so so we're talking about metabolism, and if you were here last week, you saw that episode. So let's go ahead and let's hop over and get into our discussion for this evening. So the most common explanation for why some people stay thin and some people don't is wrong. Well, not completely, but wrong enough to send people in the wrong direction for years. And the crucial part is that the harder you work inside that explanation, the more frustrated you become because you are solving the wrong problem. As I said, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode, endocrinologist, author of The Diabetes Exit, and founder of Woode Life Design. And in this episodes, we're going to look at what metabolism actually determines, because getting this right changes everything downstream. So the common perception is that, if you've had a metabolism that's high, then you're thin. And if you have a low metabolism, then that means that you are heavy. And that is what a lot of people think happens. And this is where we run into a lot of the challenges that people get into. And I want to let you know that it's not completely wrong that metabolism has a part to play, but it's not much, and it's not as much as we sometimes make it out to be, right? And so you've probably heard this phrase, and you've probably said it to yourself, right? So she eats anything and never gains weight. She must have a fast metabolism. And then on the other side, I just look at food and I put weight on. I said that to myself, right? So I've always had a slow metabolism. And so this is one of the most common beliefs about metabolism, the idea that metabolic rate, right, fast or slow, is the primary explanation for why some people are thin and why some people aren't. The body weight is basically determined, this says, by the speed of your internal engine. Fast engine, thin body; slow engine, heavy body. It sounds so reasonable that almost nobody questions it. And it matches what we observe. The person who eats constantly and they stay thin, and then the person who eats carefully and and it feels like it fits, right? Because you're watching it happen in real time. And I want to say to you that I want to show you why this is not necessarily the case. That just because you're thin means you have a fast metabolism, and because you are not thin means you have a slow metabolism. Okay, so the belief. Let's talk about it in plain language. So, not to take anything away from you, because this explanation, as comfortable as it is, does not get you to where you need to be. It leads you towards the wrong problem. And the wrong problem will never produce what? The right answer. And so we're not looking to go down the path of the wrong problem. Now, before I challenge this, I want to be honest about something. It's not made up. Okay, so the belief that this is happening is not something that is made up. It comes from things that we see and things that people have taught us as it relates to our bodies. But understanding it has caused some, let me say it a little differently. We have compounded and we have shrouded it in some mystery that causes the anxiety that people feel. Metabolic rate does vary between people. There is genuine biological variation. The belief is not that variation, or the bad part is not that the variation exists. What is incorrect is that it means as much as we have talked about. The variation is real, but the variation does not explain what you've been attributing it to. So there are some things, right, that we want to talk about as it relates to our metabolism. Number one is something called BMR. So let me take that belief seriously, and before we challenge it, we want to get into some things, right? So basal metabolic rate, it does vary among individuals. There is a genetic component to it. There is an age-related component to it. Body size plays a role. Lean mass plays a role. When someone says, I have a slow metabolism, they're not making it up. There is real biologic variation. But here's what the research actually shows. The variation in BMR between two adults of similar size, similar age, after you account for the body composition, right? So people who are exercising, people who are not, people who have toned muscles because they've been exercising, and people who haven't, is a few hundred calories per day in both directions. That's real. That's not nothing. But a few hundred calories is approximately the difference between, a small apple and a large apple. It's one snack. It's not the difference between a person who can eat anything and a person who struggles. The explanation that we've been taught, the explanation that we have been believing, asks that your metabolic rate carry an explanation for your weight it was never designed to carry and is inappropriate for what we blame it for. And so what about the people who eat constantly and they stay thin? That person is real. I've seen him. As a matter of fact, I've talked about him. Right? But the explanation is almost never fast engine, thin body. Sometimes it's higher metabolic rate and it's genuine, it's measurable. Sometimes it's an unconscious compensation. Sometimes it is a high NEAT, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So a term I'll define in a moment. So sometimes it's a body composition issue. Almost never is it simply that they have a fast engine. The story is always a little more complicated than the explanation seems to suggest. So what is metabolic rate, right? What does it actually determine? When we talk about calories, your body uses calories in a day. We're talking about 4 separate things. But we usually kind of lump them all together and say, hey, okay, all these things happen, right? So here's something that most people, they don't understand. So including people who have been tracking calories, by the way, and they've been doing this for years. When we talk about how many calories your body uses in a day, we're actually talking about not a single component, not just the food that you eat. We're talking about the rate at which it does several things. Okay, and we're going to kind of walk through those here in just a minute. And so let's do it now. So several of the things that we're going to talk about, all right, 3 you already know, and 1 you may not have considered, and you may not hear it all the time, right? So BMR, the calories your body burns at complete rest. That means that you're lying still, you're hanging out on the couch, you're doing nothing, and the body is burning some calories just to keep you alive. Right? Your heart is beating. Your lungs are helping you breathe. Your brain is running. Your organs are processing. Your temperature regulation. This is the function, the BMR, and it's about 60 to 70% of your total daily energy expenditure. So this is just you kind of hanging at the house. This is where the genetic and body size variation lives. But 60 to 70% means 30 to 40% lives somewhere else. There's a huge component that's happening somewhere else, right? So that's BMR. The thermic effect of food, TEF, is the other one. So every time you eat, your body spends energy to digest and absorb and process what you're consuming. So this is the cost of you just eating food. About 10% of the total expenditure accounts for this. And here's what's important. The type of food makes a difference. So protein has the highest thermic effect. Your body burns more calories when it's processing protein than processing the same calorie load of fat or carbohydrates. Let me say it again. Say it a little differently. So if I have two pieces of food, two plates of food, and they have exactly the same calories, they have exactly the same weight. If I eat the plate that has the protein, my body, in addition to the fact that there are some things in the protein that will keep for instance, my blood sugar is regulated, keep me feeling less hungry, but my body has to burn more calories to digest the protein than it does if I ate an equivalent amount of carbohydrates or fats. So the protein actually revs up the calorie burning when I eat it. It costs more to break it down. My body has to put more energy into breaking it down. That's one reason protein is so consistently associated with the feelings of fullness and with metabolic efficiency. Right? So that's the thermic effect of food. We talked about BMR when you're just hanging out. How much calorie, how much does your body burn? The thermic effect of food, what the body has to invest for the food that you're eating. And then the next one is your exercise activity thermogenesis, or EAT. EAT. Exercise activity thermogenesis. The one that everyone knows, the calories burned during intentional exercise. This is the one we talk about all the time. You run, you go to the gym, you walk, you take a step class, you do Zumba, you do aerobics. But what most people don't realize is that exercise accounts for a smaller share of the total expenditure than most people assume. So it's often about between 15 to 30% of your active days, and much less on the days when you're not active. So when you're out there doing your thing, right, 15 to 30%. But if you're at the house, then there is nothing going on with this. Or I shouldn't say nothing. Very, very little is happening with this, right? And exercise is critical for health. But as a calorie burning mechanism alone, it's not as powerful as we make it seem. I was gonna say it's insignificant, but that's not the phrase. And if you watch my show before, you've heard me say this. It's easier to get rid of calories overall in the kitchen than it is in the gym. What does that mean? That means if you eat something in the kitchen, it goes in your body, you got those calories in there, right? And then now you go and say, I'm going to exercise it off. I'm going to burn it off, which is great because we want you to exercise. The problem is the amount of exercise that you have to do to burn the food that you just ate. Most of us can't do that. We don't spend enough time in the gym doing that. We don't stay long enough in the gym. We don't have the intensity of the gym. So it's much better to not have eaten it in the first place than to eat it and then try to burn it off. Does that make sense? Okay. And then there is the fourth one. NEAT. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So we talked about exercise activity thermogenesis when you go to the gym and you're doing your stuff. And this is the non-exercise one. NEAT is every calorie that you burn through movement that's not intentional. This is where people say to me, well, I walk all day at work. I'm fidgeting, right? People shifting in the chair, right? They can't stay still. They walk to the kitchen. They stand instead of sitting. You talk with your hands. Like me, I'm burning a lot of calories right now, by the way. Right? You're pacing while you're on the phone. Every small movement across the day adds up. And here's the kicker. Research, when we look at NEAT, right? So non-exercise activity, right? Thermogenesis. The variation between individuals is remarkable. Two people identical size, identical age, and body composition, same amount, can have differences of up to 2,000 calories per day simply by the activities that they're doing that have nothing to do with exercise. So it's not because one is going to the gym and another one's not. They're both in the office. They're both doing they both work on the computers, but one person is more active. You look at them and they're like, can you just stop moving? Right? Because one person moves more in all the small different ways that they go about the day. And that's not a willpower issue, y'all. That's not discipline. That has nothing to do with food. It's unconscious. And when somebody restricts calories significantly, your NEAT drops. Your body, the ability, the movement actually goes down. The body moves less because the body is trying to do what? It's trying to conserve energy. The fidgeting slows. The spontaneous movement decreases. And without the person deciding to do it less, the body does it on its own. That's not a character flaw. That is physiology. So let's talk a little bit about where this all goes, right? So we're talking about NEAT synthesis. When you add those four things together, your BMR, basal metabolic rate, the thermic effect of food, right? The exercise activity, right? Exercise activity thermogenesis, and then the non-exercise activity thermogenesis, you get the total amount of energy that we burn for the day. And the variation in NEAT alone between two people can be larger than the entire variation in the BMR. I want you to hear what I just said. So they're eating, say they ate the same food. The thermic effect is going to be the same. They go to the gym and they're exercise. So their exercise activity thermogenesis is going to be the same. They've got some genetic variation, yes. But a big part of what happens between these two people has to do with the things that they do when they're not even thinking about exercising. So this explanation focuses on the wrong variable. It's not the engine speed that explains the difference. It's the total activity picture, including the invisible, unconscious movement that nobody's counting. Because nobody's counting that. Like, nobody's sitting there thinking about, okay, she's moving around, she's getting up, she's moving, right? She's pointing. Nobody's thinking about it. What they're thinking about, well, I didn't see her go to the gym. I didn't see her cut back on her food. Right? But nobody's counting that part. But that itself can be huge. Well, let's talk a little bit about something else. Right, so variation in NEAT alone, we said can be a big deal, which is yes. But let's talk about body weight, and it is not primarily what we think. It is primarily a function of hormonal signaling. Come on, there you go. That's there. Right? So there's endocrinologists, hormones, right? So body weight is not primarily a function of calories. It's not just food. And it's not just calories in versus calories out. Now, let me pause here because I can see somebody right now. I can hear you saying, I am not saying that it doesn't matter what you eat. Because it does matter tremendously what you eat. Because I just gave the example, right? It's easier to not eat it in the kitchen than it is to eat it and burn it off in the gym. So if we had our choice, if everything were equal, I would say, yeah, let's deal with it in the kitchen. Let's not eat the cookie, the candy, the cake, whatever it is. And let me say this. You want to hear something? It is not that you ate a cookie that caused the problem. Nope. It is not that you had the ice cream that caused the problem. It is that you had the cookie, and then you had another cookie, and then you had some ice cream. And then you had a salad because you said I was being good. It is the progression, it is the total, it is the amount, right? So it absolutely does matter what you eat. But what I'm saying is it doesn't matter as much as we make it out to be, because it's not calories in, calories out, and then everything is great. It is a function of the hormones that are running around in your body. Insulin, cortisol, leptin, ghrelin, thyroid hormone, sex hormones. These are the signals that govern what your body does with the energy that it receives. So the energy is coming in. It's going to come in. It's going to come from somewhere. It's going to come from the food. It's going to come from your genetics. It's going to come if you're not moving around. The energy is there. The question is not whether you have the energy. The question is, what does your body do with the energy once it's in you? Does it store it or does it burn it? Does it say, hey, I'm full, so I don't have to eat more? Or does it say, hey, I'm still hungry, go get some more food? Does it say, hey, I'm going to keep the fat because I got to protect it? Or does it say, I'm going to release it and allow you to lose weight? So two people can eat the same meal and have completely different hormonal responses, different insulin response, different leptin signals, different rates of storage of the fat, same calories, processed differently because the hormonal environment is different between the two people. This is why treating metabolism as an input versus output problem doesn't do what we need. Calories in, calories out, it misses the most important variable, and that's the hormonal environment. Because the hormones determine what happens between in and out, right? It's kind of like there's a box, and you the stuff goes in, and then there's some stuff comes out on the other side, and we're assuming that if we put it in and we subtract the same amount, then what comes out is zero. But no, there's something that's going on inside there, inside the box, called your hormonal environment, and that has a profound effect on what goes on in the body. So body composition. A pound of muscle and a pound of fat weigh the same, a pound for a pound, but they don't function the same. I said again, a pound of muscle and a pound of fat, they weigh the same. If you put them on the scale, you get a pound and you get a pound. But those pounds do different things. Muscle is metabolically active. It burns energy at rest. While you're sitting there, while you're sleeping, while you're working your computer, muscles are burning energy. And it's burning more energy than the same amount of fat. So fat is metabolically less active. Two people at identical body weights can have dramatically different metabolic profiles based on the ratio of lean fat to fat mass. So strength training is amazing. And some people say, well, I'm working out, I'm lifting, I'm whatever they're doing, and I'm my weight has not changed, or I'm actually putting on some weight. But the weight that you have is more metabolically active. So over a long haul, you're going to actually burn more calories than the person who weighs exactly the same, who is not as metabolically active, who does not have as much muscle mass. This is why the same scale is such an inadequate instrument. The person who has lost 20 pounds of muscle and gained 20 pounds of fat weighs exactly the same. and is metabolically worse off. Did you get what I just said? They lost some weight, but it was all fat. I mean, all muscle. And they gained some weight, the same amount, but it was all fat. That person is worse off. They weigh exactly the same. So weight is a single number. The body is not a single number. The body is a combination. And then, of course, I had to throw this in there, stress and sleep. Chronic cortisol and disrupted sleep reshape the metabolic picture in ways that no diet can address. I want you to hear me. You're eating well. You're following all the dietary patterns that everybody's told you. You're eating like a bird. You're eating this with that, and you're combining. You're eating your protein first, and you're doing all the stuff. But the hormones are not regulated because you think, and I'm going to say you, but we think, because I'm throwing myself in there. Oh, sleep doesn't matter. And I'm handling the stress. But cortisol tells the body to hold on to fat. Specifically, which fat do you think it tells it to hold on to? That's right here, y'all. It wouldn't tell it to hold on to fat right here, right? It has to be right here in the middle. The visceral fat, the metabolically dangerous fat that accumulates around the organs. Cortisol increases insulin resistance. Cortisol drives the appetite, makes you hungrier, particularly for calorie-dense foods. So you don't ever crave broccoli. Like if you crave broccoli, raise your hand. Or if you crave green beans. And if you do, you're probably craving the crunch, right? So it's not like I love broccoli. But I'll tell you, I've got a craving for some Cadbury chocolate. Oh, yeah. I'll get up and drive across town to get some Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I run down to Flatbush in New York and I'll get some Dunkin' Donuts. I don't think they're there anymore, by the way. Right, so calorie-dense foods. And it is doing that through its effect on your hunger hormones. So poor sleep compounds all of this. So one study showed that sleep-deprived dieters and well-rested dieters lost the same total amount of weight. But sleep restriction decreased the proportion of weight loss as fat, right? The amount of fat that you lost by 55%. And caused an increase in the loss of mean mass by 60%. So 55% fat and 60% lean mass. They lost muscle, not fat, because the hormonal environment of sleep deprivation protected the fat. It protects the fat. The stress protects the fat. The fat has a protective mechanism, y'all. So cortisol and sleep are not lifestyle add-ons. Oh, I'll do all of this stuff. I'll do all of the things that they're talking about. I'll go through, I'll exercise, I'll go to the gym, I'll eat right, I'll do all of that. But sleep, we'll get to that when I get to it. No, it is not an add-on. It is not incidental. Those are primary metabolic variables. They count. They are very important. So when we talk about weight and metabolism, we're not simply talking about one thing. We're talking about a combination of different things. And that's why this is so important. So the hormonal environment is important, the body composition is important, the stress and the sleep is important. So what is the correct way of thinking about this, though? Right? So not by engine speed. Not by engine speed. So this is what I want to offer you. and this is in place of the current explanation that you have. The common belief says your body weight is determined by the speed of your metabolism, the speed of your engine. If you got a fast engine, you're thin. If you got a slow engine, you're heavy. But the corrective thought frame is this: your body composition is the output of your metabolic environment. Oh, did you hear what I just said? It's not an engine speed issue. It's your environment. What do you always hear me say? Your body is responding. The question is what it's responding to. What is the environment? What's the hormonal environment that you're generating? The stress load that your body is carrying? The quality and quantity of your sleep? The composition of your lean mass? What's your NEAT pattern? You get to work and you just sit. That's the unconscious daily movement. The thermic profile of what you eat. That's why what you eat also is important. It's not just the caloric intake. It's not the total calories. It's also what does it do? How much energy does your body have to put into burning it? All of those things together produce the metabolic environment. And the metabolic environment produces the outcome. Your body's responding. You hear me keep saying that. The question is, what is it responding to? This matters because environments can be changed. Come on. If you were just born like this, if this is just your genetics, if you just were given a bad metabolism, a slow metabolism, then that's it. You have no recourse. That is a closed door. I can't do anything about it. But if my body is responding to the environment that it's in, I can change the environment. That's an open door. That allows you and that positions you for success. So let's fix the environment, right? Let's fix the environment. I think about it this way. Imagine two houses, same square footage, same furnace. One is warm, one is cold. You assume the furnace in the warm house is bigger. But when you look closer, the warmer house has better windows. They're sealed better. The thermostat is working. The heating system is being governed accurately. They have better insulation. The cold house is drafty. The caulking has given away. The thermostat doesn't work well. The furnace is the same size, and it's functioning. But the environment is different. The metabolism is the furnace. The environment, the hormones, the sleep, the stress, the body composition, that's the insulation, that's the window, that's the thermostat. If we fix the environment, the thermostat, we fix the caulking, we fix the insulation, we fix the window, the thermostat, right, all of a sudden is reading properly. The furnace doesn't have to change. And yet, the house is warmer. We change the environment and we change the response. Change the environment, we change the response. So what am I going to say? That's right. Your body is responding. Your body's responding. The question is, what it's responding to? Not how fast your engine runs, what your environment is asking it to do. That's what's going on. So this week, right? This week, one question. What is the metabolic environment that I've actually built? Because if it's an environmental issue, then I can change. What is the stress load that I'm carrying right now? Not just the big stresses, but all the stress. The ambient stress, the chronic background stress, the stress that you've gotten used to, that you don't even notice anymore. The stress that never fully turns off. What does my sleep actually look like? Not the hours. Not what I tell myself I got. Not what I believe I got. What I'm actually getting. What's the quality of it? The consistency. The restorative function. What does my body composition look like? Come on, health action plan. And is it in the direction of change? Am I moving? Am I doing some strength training? Am I developing my lean mass? Or am I getting less? During the day, what is my NEAT? Non-exercise, right? So non-exercise, not the exercise, not the one when you go to the gym. This is what's going on your, you get to your desk. Do you stay there the whole day? Do you get up? You go to the bathroom? Do you get up? Do you walk around? Do you get up, right? Do I move? Do you move constantly throughout the day? Or do you sit for long stretches and try to make up for it with a scheduled workout? Come on now, right? So we artificially do that when, if you moved throughout the day, I'm not going to say going to the gym doesn't matter, but it may not matter as much as you think. You don't have to change anything this week. Just observe. Name the environment that you've actually built, because you can't change what you haven't seen clearly. We're going to come back and we're going to continue this here because this is amazing. I love this, right? I love this. So next week we're going to look at something that confuses almost everyone. And it is what your labs actually tell you and what they don't tell you. So make sure you join me for that, because this is an amazing discussion that we're having. The person that can eat anything and stay thin is real. The struggle you've experienced is real. Both things are true. But the explanation, fast engine, thin, slow engine, heavy, is too small for what's actually happening. It flattens a complex, responsive, dynamic system into a single variable. And when you organize your efforts around the wrong variable, you will keep solving the wrong problem. And we've done that for too long. Your metabolism is not fixed. It's not a fixed engine. It is responsive. It's a responsive system. It reads your environment and produces an output that matches what it's been given. The question is not what speed your engine runs at. The question is, what environment have you built? The body's responding. It always is. The question is, what is it responding to? We're going to pick up. We're going to talk about that next week. And if this conversation has raised a question, the brief is where we answer those questions, and the brief is where the conversation continues. Scan the QR code that you have there, or go to DwainWoodeMD.com/brief and sign up and become a part of that community, because we'd love to have you come and be part of it. This is our conversation around the things that are going on in our bodies. And I hope that it landed. I hope something shifted. I hope that you see your body in a different way. I hope that you realize that you are not broken. I hope you realize that there is an exit. Your body's responding. The question is what it's responding to. Hang around. We'll be right back. Hey y'all, man, what an amazing conversation. I love this conversation. When I was thinking about what we would do next after the doctor as patient. I started thinking about where was it that a lot of people lose their get up and go. What was the thing that they had more questions about than anything else? And this that you're hearing us talk about is a big one. We're going to be starting our series in earnest, not this coming week, but the week after, where we actually are walking through metabolism in a very structured, detailed way so you get to understand what's going on in your body. And this is just a smattering. This is the tip of the iceberg, y'all, of the things that we think and the things that we can change. So I want you to make sure that you're joining us for that. Now, I do see some of our community members out there, so let me go ahead and say hello. Let's see. Let's do this one. I see Steve. Steve, what's up, Steve? Steve says hello. Thank you for coming through. Cornelia says hello, everyone. Hey, Cornelia, thank you for being here. Let's see. Gian, she says, hey, LLG. Hey, Gian, thank you for being here as well. Gian says, I'm late. We're glad that you are here. We're glad that you have come in and are hanging out with us. Cornelia says, Steve says, hello, Cornelia and Gian. Gian says, hi, Steve. Hi, Steve and sis. Cortisol protects fat. Yes, it does. Cortisol protects fat. Did y'all hear that? Your fat has a protective mechanism. Doesn't that beat everything? Right? Of all the things that we have, a protective mechanism around fat. But yeah, it will do that. Hey y'all, you know, we teach here based on the Triple E formula for success. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate with the shows, with the blogs, with the podcasts. We empower with the tools that we're learning, right? So we've learned several tools, and now we're educating with the shows on metabolism, but we're also giving you some tools, right? So that walkthrough. What is the question? What are you looking for? What is my body responding to? And then we encourage with the community that you are part of. We love the fact that you are here. Love the fact that you are in this space. We will be back as we go through the rest of this week. We're starting our fasting tomorrow. On Wednesday, we'll have our 24-hour fast check-in, the fasting clinic at right around 1:15 during the day on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. We'll be back on 48 hours on Wednesday, and then on Thursday we'll have 48 hours. We continue in this space because we want to make sure that you are being educated, empowered, and encouraged. So on Saturday at 9 p.m. Central, we'll have video from the vault. And on Sunday, This Week in Review. And then we'll be back next Monday at 7 p.m. Central for Dwain Woode, MD Live. Now, remember, next week is going to be a little different than we normally do, because it's probably going to be a recorded. I may have some of my guys who are going to be here at the house. We may pop in to say hello to everybody, but you guys heard me talking about my fellas, and so some of us are getting together next week, right before the show, and it's going to spread into the show. So come on, though, there will be something here. I don't know if we're going to pop in, but you may see some of us. But I want to make sure that you know that it is not that you are broken. Your body's responding. The question is what it's responding to. Next week, we continue. Make sure that you're here. Make sure you get into the brief. Hey, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode, endocrinologist, author of The Diabetes Exit, and founder of Woode Life Design. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life. Avoid complications. Go to the next level. I'm here because I want you to have the success in your health just like you're having in all the other areas of your life. So you can show up intentionally and consistently for the people and for the friends, for the things that you've been pouring into. Remember, we don't default to our goals. We default to our design. And your body's responding. The question is, what is responding to? Good night, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.